A growing number of young Koreans are
posting their so-called body profiles on social media.
촬영 당일에 그 몸은 사실 24시간도 유지가 안 되고요. 바디 프로필을 준비하면서 몸의 많은 대사 기능이 무너지게 되었고
What is a body profile, right? I came to Korea and people would say these things like, oh, I want to take a body profile, take a body profile. It's like, what do you even mean? A profile photo of your body. People prepare months on end with very drastic diets, 2 months, 3 months, right? Eating chicken and broccoli, barely anything, to make themselves really, really thin, and with a combination of tanning and professional lighting and Photoshop and of course some working out. Take this photo, which is supposed to represent the peak condition of their body, and they get this one snapshot or a couple snapshots. That was my peak, that was when I looked best. Anyways, not only do they yo-yo back up to how they were, they often go beyond the state they were in before they started this whole process. They cannot control their hunger anymore. Eating disorders, it completely screws up their relationship with food. So it's very interesting that a lot of the gyms in Korea, their strategy for gaining new clients is to advertise body profile photos. They'll have these photos up saying, look like this, you know, pay this amount to take this photo in this many months. You know, that is the goal. It's not like get in the gym to get healthy, get in the gym to look good. It's like get in the gym to look a certain way that you can take this body profile photo. It's like the image is almost the goal, rather than the health, rather than the fitness, rather than the body. As society becomes more and more image-based and video-based, we are focusing more and more on the representation of the real rather than the real itself. Even now as you watch this, like the real me is here in Seoul, and you're seeing a representation of me through the pixels on your screen. And it's almost like this presence, this digital pixelated image, carries more weight, let's say emotional weight and significance, to a lot of people of this new generation. So what am I trying to say with all this? I think the main point is that if the goal is for the image, then after that image has been achieved, there's no real incentive for you to continue. Okay, and because it's such an outcome-oriented activity, you will not be able to enjoy the process, which means once you achieve that result, you will feel like, oh, finally, it's done, I can eat now. And then it's just obvious what's going to happen after that, right? What I'm trying to say is that for all of you that are trying to work on your fitness, inquire within yourself how much of it is for other people's validation, how much of it is for the image. Because if it's the result oriented thinking that's driving you forward, then you will not be able to sustain that action for a long period of time, and you will actually develop a lot of insecurities around that activity if the pursuit of that activity is not based on the process but based on the reactions of other people. This actually happens a lot in a lot of people that start their fitness journey like hoping to be more confident in their body, hoping to overcome the insecurities they have about their body, but they actually develop more insecurities because once they start going to the gym, they start thinking, oh, am I good enough? Oh, is this good enough? They start comparing their bodies to other people, and then they start posting these things, and then they start getting some kind of good feedback or okay feedback or negative feedback, and then that gets in their head. Oh, you know, I need to do this more. Oh, I'm not good enough. Whatever it is, they feel pressure to always portray a certain image of themselves. This causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, because you know you're not the same as the image. And you can lie to everyone, but you cannot lie to yourself. So what do? You start thinking, oh, the image is what people like. It's not me that they like. With this, you cannot develop true confidence because you cannot be true to your authentic self. True confidence is when you can be vulnerable, when you can show your authentic self and still trust and still know to some degree that people will love and accept you exactly the way you are. But if you're like, I need to be this, I need to do this, and that's what gets people to like me, then you're in that validation seeking mentality where you are essentially pouring water into a hole at the bottom and you will never feel full. So if you apply that to fitness, most of us start this journey in a way to look good. That's definitely why I started the fitness journey, because I wanted to have a sexy body. I wanted to have an aesthetic body, to be more attractive to women. And it's all these things that first drive a young man, or maybe a young woman as well, but especially young men, to step into the gym and start working on themselves. And that's okay. That's very natural and that's great. But as you start going through these processes, you start to enjoy the process for what it is. You start falling into the craft and dedicating your mind and your body to improving in a certain craft. And that process almost overtakes the result as the primary focus. And this is the stage you want to get to in your fitness journey, but not just your fitness journey, in any pursuit in your life. And that's when the flow state comes, right? That's when you can be really creative. That's when you can perform at your best, when you're not thinking about how I can do this to get some result. Okay, this applies to dating, this applies to playing music, this applies to cooking, this applies to boxing and jiu-jitsu. Anything that you want to do, you want to shift from result-oriented thinking to process immersion. So yeah, that was a big sort of tangent, but I do think it's a really, really important life wisdom, if you like. You can tell, like, even me, while I say all this, I'm also thinking, oh, you know what, I wasn't lean enough for a photo shoot at this point, you know, not compared to the last time, you know. And I start getting into my head about, oh, I should have gone to the gym. And then where is that coming from? It's coming from, I want to look better. I want to create a better image, to impress more people, to have more people like me and accept me, to get more views, to get more love from people on YouTube. Why? Because I want that validation, because I don't feel enough as who I am, just as is. That feeling of lack and being not enough, not good enough, you know, we're going really deep now. That's triggering those sensations that therefore makes me want to portray a leaner version of me, a version of me that is, if you like, slightly further from the real. And as a consequence, when there is that difference between what I want to portray in order to get validation and what I truly am in this moment, then you can start to feel anxious. You start to feel worse. You can kind of see that in the unfiltered vlog that's going to follow. This is really like, I really didn't plan to show this in this way or anything like that, but maybe if you've done some deep work or like shadow work, if these terms kind of resonate with you, maybe if you've had therapy or done psychoanalysis, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But there are things within us, some deep things, fragments of our personality, fragments of ourselves that have been cast away into the shadow. That is, we don't know which fragments are hidden. We don't know what's in the dark. We don't know what we don't know about what's there, but they are there. And it's all this kind of, it can be created by traumas, it can be created by negative past experiences, things that we may not even remember, and that causes you to feel like you're not enough, that yourself is not full and complete as is, which then requires you to seek other things to make you whole. Right? So your existence becomes a lack. You seek other things to make you whole. That's where desire comes, right? Desire is the desire to be whole. And whether that's the search for a new partner, or your relationship with food, or your desire to create like sexy photos, whatever it is, manifests in different ways. And it's important to, it's like, how do you solve it? It's not like I'm going to say some things in this video, you're going to like, oh yeah, I realize it and I'm whole now. Like, that's obviously not how this thing works. But every deep change starts with awareness, right? So it's kind of thinking in this way, like, what are my fragments? What is in my shadow? What are the parts of myself that I haven't looked at, that I haven't even thought about looking at? That's the kind of thing that that's the kind of angle you want to take in order to bring some light into the shadow, bring some awareness onto the parts of yourself that you've neglected and therefore are causing you to do all these things. And the reason why this is so important is that, you know, you can do all the great things like, oh, you can work out, you can do the compound movements and progressive overload and heavy weights, and you can train with the best routine and have your diet on track and get a sexy body, but for what? It's I mean, you might be sitting there going, you know, like that's the whole thing, like that's all I want and then I'll be happy. Like it's probably not good. It's probably gonna do the opposite. You're gonna have body dysmorphia, you're gonna have more anxiety, more insecurities, because the inner deep self is still lacking, and the search for the good body or the thin body or the buff body or the sexy body or the more money or the hot girl, and all of these cravings are a way to satisfy that lack. So, you know, I'm not going to provide solutions or even act like I have solutions to make you whole or anything like that, but there is one thing I've learned, which is that awareness, which I guess begins with sort of even thinking about it in this way about yourself, is the first step, right? So that just went really deep. I really wasn't planning to go there, but if this kind of stuff, you know, is meaningful to you, you resonate with it, then, you know, please let me know, because then I would continue to, you know, go do deep dives like this, or if you just want to like share it with someone that you think this would help, please do that. And also, yeah, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy my content, because I do a lot of other practical stuff as well, right? And I hope this next bit about, you know, just showing a little bit of behind the scenes about the footage, like that's basically how I create thumbnails. People ask like, how do you make your thumbnails? Yeah, I just did a couple of these photo shoots with friends, like literally just friends, and then I just screenshot them or take photos and then go with that. So cool. So I hope you enjoyed the next part. Bye bye. So basically what you're going to see now is me trying to do a body profile, which isn't a body profile, okay? Because a body profile is like you sign up, make a proper like deal with the PT, you go through like phases of tanning and sign up to a proper studio that just does body profiles, or like are experts in all the photo editing and stuff. But I never wanted those photos anyways. They look fake and plastic and stuff. So but at the same time, I did want some good thumbnails, right? Because, you know, you guys have been saying that I have good thumbnails and stuff. So I collaborated with this photographer called Brian, amazing guy. You can probably find a lot of videos on body profiles where like the people, they talk about their process and they don't really look happy, you know. They're just eating chicken breast and broccoli all the time. And a lot of people live like that in order to portray and capture a certain image of themselves. I guess I'm doing this little challenge. It's hardly a challenge for me because it's just one day of changing up my diet, but it's not sustainable because I don't feel that great when I don't eat carbs. But in another way, I wanted to show you how if you learn how to maintain a lean body throughout the entire year, it's really easy to just like change a couple things and be able to do a photo shoot. Let's talk a little bit about the body image obsession in Korea. And I do realize that body image issues exist across the globe. Korea is the #1 plastic surgery capital of the world. People literally travel all over the world to get plastic surgery here. The double eyelid surgery or the nose job. A lot of these beauty standards have started from Hollywood and the Barbie doll, white girl beauty standards. It's been reflected by the Korean culture, Korean music industry, and the Korean film industry, Korean drama industry, where a lot of the girls look very similar, you know, big round eyes, small nose, and a lot of Korean girls try to live up to this beauty image. Yes, there are certain actresses that have gone against that trend and have displayed like Korean beauty in their own way, like without all those surgeries, and they do very well as well. But generally speaking, especially if you look at K-pop, sometimes, you know, no offense to them, I think some K-pop musicians look absolutely amazing, but like a lot of them look very similar because they all get the same surgery. And it's this obsession with trying to be as pretty as possible. You can understand why they do it. I'm not saying like don't do it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or it means you've got a problem. Like, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, you know, you do you. It's your life. But it is a reflection. It is a reflection of the culture, the Korean obsession with image. So the guys in the military that I would hang out with, a lot of them would say, I really want to get a sick body because I want a body profile photo shoot. It's like they wanted the body profile photo more than the nice body. Okay, so I'm arriving at the studio, so let's talk about that in a bit later.
Do some L-sits.
Alright guys, so I just finished the shoot, and to be honest, it didn't go as well as I planned because I was just simply not lean enough. You know, definitely wasted a whole lot of money. Nah, I'm just kidding. We'll make something good out of it.
Well, you didn't do a body profile.
Yeah.
Because if you'd done one, you would have got the spray tans and everything with it.
Yeah. Thought I could just wing it with my just everyday body with one day of just not drinking that much. But I actually ended up having a fat Coke and some coffee before the shoot. For some reason, I thought that would be a good idea, and then kind of ended up carrying a lot of water weight, so I don't look as lean as I wanted in the shoot. But having said that, I think it's still lean, it's still good. You don't have to start blaming yourself or hating yourself or anything like that, because most of the time I walk around with the body that you see in this footage. Most of the time my body looks like that. You know, sometimes it looks sharper because I'm carrying less water. Sometimes I look a bit more full and bigger because I've just worked out and got pumped. But today even, I didn't really even feel like I was pumped, you know? Like, I wish we could have hit the gym beforehand. Anyway, so back home, we're gonna put all this gear back because we carried the dip bars and everything, and then gonna go to my grandma's and probably not eat for the next week. as punishment, as self for fucking up. No, I'm just kidding. Healthy mentals, healthy body, stay lean, keep lean.
It was literally so spontaneous. You didn't really prepare for it. It was super spontaneous.
It was just like, yeah, just do it tomorrow, fucking go.
Yeah.
So that's what a photo shoot looks like on one day's notice.